Welcome, everybody, to WagerTalk Today. I'm Lawrence Presman, and you're watching the best daily all sports betting show on the planet by far. We got a great show coming up for you guys today. We got Ralph Michaels starting right off the top. He's going to look at the New York Mets for a Chicago Cubs game. He's also going to take apart the Rams and Seattle Seahawks week 1 in NFL. And he's got a chart for us, which I'm excited about. Mark Zinno will be joining us after. He's going to look at the Braves game and also give his betting thoughts on the St. Louis Tampa Bay game. Dave Sharapan at the end of the show. We got a betting strategy segment you all want to stay for. And, of course, Teddy, your big game breakdown. What will you be discussing in that segment?
Big game breakdown. You know what we want to do this time of year. As much football content as possible. We're talking week 0 college football with the big game breakdown. The first game of the season, Notre Dame and Navy. So stay tuned for that coming up later in the show.
Teddy, before we bring Ralph Michaels on, we got a great question from Alex Mayer in the chat room. I love when these guys log in live. It means the world to me. I want to address this question because I think it's one of the most crucial questions that you can ask. It is just absolutely essential to winning. And he writes, let's say you start with a bankroll of $2,000 and you're only betting 1% on each play, $20 a play. After week 1, you're up $200, which, by the way, great week. Now you have $2,200. Is your new unit now 1% of 2,200, or do you keep the original number? I got a lot to say here. Do you want to take a stab? I think everyone's different.
So, in theory, the answer is supposed to be 1% of 220, as opposed to 1% of 2,200, as opposed to 1% of it, because that's the way you can maximize your growth. So that's the answer. The answer is up. As your bankroll changes, your percentage of bankroll doesn't change in how much you're going to bet, but the amount you're allowed to bet because your bankroll is higher or smaller is clearly the way to go, in my opinion. Lawrence?
Yeah, Teddy, you're 100% right. And Alex, the most crucial thing that you have to understand is, firstly, you can change your bankroll daily if you like. It's a little bit of a nuisance to do that, and I personally do it every Monday. So, in essence, I would bet that $20 for the week. If I'm at 2,200 on Monday, then I'm betting $22 for that week. That's how I would attack it. And the reason for that is that on your way up, you're taking advantage of exponential growth, the concept of, interest, making money on interest. Now you're making, as you win, you're making slightly bigger bets, same percentage of your bankroll. But equally as important, if your bankroll was at 1,800 at the end of week 1, now you're betting $18 a game. And when you're in a slump, you are actually saving money on those losses on the way down. So you have exponential growth on the way up, the most important thing in making money, interest, making money on interest. And you have, there is no word that I know, de-exponential growth on the way down. Ralph Michaels joining us, everyone. Ralph, anything to add to what we've spoken about right now?
Nope, I think you guys both said it very succinctly.
Well, it's a reason this is the best daily sports betting show on the planet. Ralph Michaels, one of the best handicappers on the planet, joins us every week, a regular guest on the show, and we're thankful for that. Ralph, you have a chart going. We got a big show. I'm just going to shut up and hand the mic over to you.
Well, guys, as you know, we always tried to teach you something here on WagerTalk Today. And while this isn't giving you anything actionable specifically, it's more a mindset when you're betting football or betting most sports. So, Prez and Teddy, we've talked about this. Since 2016 in the NFL, there's been 1,814 games. Quickly guess, what percentage of those that won the game covered the spread? The answer, I'll throw it out, is 83.2% of the teams that won the game covered. So 1,465 times the team that won covered the spread. So what I did is I went back through 2016. This is at the end of the season. So granted, in September, you don't know which teams are going to win 60% of their games. You don't know which teams are going to lose 60% of their games. But betting on winning teams and betting on losing teams is a strategy that you should look for. Don't throw money at crappy teams in bad situations. Take a look at these records from 2022 back since 2016. Those are the teams that finished the season winning 60%. If you could forecast those teams, and by midseason, you know who the best teams are, you know who the worst teams are, you would have won 58% of the time. If you faded those teams that won 40% or more, you cashed 58% of the time, or again, those teams only won 42% of the time. So those are the year-by-year records. I'm just going to show you the last 4 years in another chart. It's going to show you the teams. On the left-hand side of the chart are the teams that won 60% straight up or lost 60%. Next to them are their ATS records. So last year, for example, on the top left, the Eagles went 8-9 ATS. They lost a game. The Chiefs lost a game. But the Bills were +1. The 49ers were positive. The Vikings were down 2. The Bengals very good, and the Cowboys. So, again, while there's nothing you can say week 1 in the NFL, maybe not in September NFL, but it shows an overall mantra on betting good teams and fading bad teams and what the results are. So, yes, we're backtracking a little bit of data, but I think it's just important for people to realize that as they're going into the NFL season and making a plan to be a successful bettor in the 2023 season.
So, Ralph, that chart is a brilliant chart. And to me, it emphasizes perhaps the single most important point in sports betting there is that in general, you want your money on good teams and against bad teams. And I see bettors all the time talking about value. There's value on this side. There's value on this dog. There's value on this bad team. Is that something that over the years, I've tapped my brakes on the value stuff a lot? Is that something that you've done as well in your handicapping when you look at, all right, well, there's value on this bad team, or are there still spots that you're looking to take some of the worst teams in the NFL and fade some of the best teams in the NFL?
Teddy, it's a tricky question because when I am diving into a team and I perceive value, that's one thing. I'm not going to buy into others saying there's value because that's their opinion. They believe there's value, but who knows if there's value? The only person who can decide there's value is the straight up record, the ATS record, and what you truly believe. So I black out all the noise from the others. If I believe there's value, I'll give it a go. If I'm proven wrong once, it's an anomaly. I'll try it again. If I'm proven wrong twice, I'm going to slow down. If it's a situation where I'm proven wrong 3 times, guess what? I was totally wrong. There is value on that team.
You know, it's funny. It's funny, Ralph. I always remind myself the following sort of motto, slogan, or whatever. That team doesn't deserve me to bet on them, whether it's the Royals or the A's or, you know, the Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals coming into this NFL season. I always stay away from the bottom 5 teams, 10 teams in the league, depending on the league. I just keep reminding myself, like, what am I going to be, like the smartest man on the planet? They lose 8 out of 10 games. I'm going to be the guy, the genius that picks the 2 they win. So I never bet on these horrific teams. Teddy, you have a facial expression like you're ready to explode.
Well, no, the question is why. What you say you never back them. Ralph's chart says we should be fading these teams every week. We know Arizona is going to stink this year. Okay?
Right.
Arizona's best case scenario is winning 7 games. You know, are the Cardinals a team we should be fading every week? And Ralph's chart says yes. Just go instead of figuring out times to back them, figure out times to fade them.
However,
hey, Dan?
in the handicap, one sec, yeah. Ralph, in the handicapping industry, handicapping and betting is slightly different. And there are handicappers that really want to wear that badge of Hey, the Arizona Cardinals went 1-16 this year. I picked the one. So, there's a lot there. It's the ego of trying to figure out when a bad team is going to win. Hey, I don't do it, Teddy. No, you know what, dude? Can you bring back the Teddy from yesterday, please? Dan, get rid of this Teddy. Bring back another one. I don't need his stupid facial expressions. Ralph, let's get into some actionable info. We got
Ralph
two
wanted
games.
to follow up. Before we do that, let's let Ralph follow up. Put up the chart one more time. Ralph had a point to make.
Dan, if you could throw up the team chart, if you could. I just want you to look at the top right. Teddy, you talked about it. Look at last year's teams that were 40% or less. The Bears, Texans, Cardinals, Colts, Rams, Broncos, Raiders. Now, we wouldn't have projected the Raiders to be under 40%. The Broncos, we didn't project to be under 40. The Rams, we likely didn't. The Colts, the Cardinals, the Texans, those teams, you look at what they were. I think you are right, Teddy. You can look at a few teams and say, these are likely teams to be under 40%. They are on my fade list. So just wanted to show you one year example that, again, in September, we can't always decide who's going to be on this chart. And actually in October, there's a lot of times we don't know who's going to be on this chart. But it's still a thought process to have when you get to that midseason point.
There we go. Ralph Michaels with his charts. Unbelievable stuff. Ralph, let's get moving. Let's talk about the Cubs versus the Mets. Jameson tallying on the mound, 5-0 his last 5 starts, 1.4 ERA. Carrasco's a mess, 4.2 ERA his last 5 starts. The Cubs are 2.5 games out of their division, 3.5 games out of the wild card. They lost to the Mets last night. They seem to be a short favorite here. I mean, it's short, minus 130 to 140. I love the Cubs in this spot. What are you doing in this game?
Prez, I'm playing them first half. This is an actual 3% client release at WagerTalk. They're actually only minus 125 for first half action. Listen, the Mets snapped a 6-game win streak yesterday. How did they get that win? Well, they needed Lindor and Alonso to go 6 for 8, and they scored 11 runs. Well, they're not going to go 6 for 8 in most games. The Cubs, since the All-Star break, 16-8, even hotter since July 21st, 13-4, averaging 6.8 runs per game. They are 10 straight wins as an away favorite of minus 110 or higher. You said Talon. I'll tell you what, in his last 3 starts, he's allowed 4 runs. What has Carrasco done in his last 3 starts? 5 runs in 2 2/3 innings, 6 runs, 2 1/3 inning, 6 runs in 6 innings, 4 Ks in his last 3 starts, a 14.5 ERA, a 2.81 WHIP. Yes, the Cubs lost. They have bounced back off this loss. First 5 for me will take the bullpens out of it. Carrasco gets rocked again.
So the Cubs are 13-4 in their last 17 ball games. And Chicago's not going to play 750 ball the rest of the way. The Mets snapped that skid yesterday. Isn't this maybe a spot that there's some momentum for New York and you might want to ride them again? Or is this just, look, one team's got to play arrows pointed up, the other team's arrows pointed down, and it flipped last night. So expect the arrows to continue pointing in the same direction. Or is there some hope here for the Mets?
Teddy, I don't believe so. When you're a trade deadline seller like the Mets were, I think that deflates your balloon moving forward. Listen, Alonso and Lindor are going to have good games. They're superstars, and they deserve all the accolades. But, the only way the Mets are going to win with their lineup is if those two have that kind of game. And yes, when hitters get hot, they can stay hot. But against this pitching matchup, I don't see so. And again, I am happy to fade Carrasco. He wouldn't be starting for any other team, but with the trades the Mets did, they're just going to let him run out for a few more starts. Happy to fade him. First 5 Cubs.
Ralph Michaels, everyone. Guys, it's $2 Tuesday at WagerTalk. We pick our hottest handicapper, and we make him the $2 Tuesday handicapper. Ralph Michaels is the $2 Tuesday handicapper over at WagerTalk. Ralph, tell us what the clients can get for only $2.
Well, Preseason football is a sport I absolutely love. If you downloaded the preseason football guide, I have a quote there which says, preseason football is basically the only time in sports when you could bet on a coach and a team that want to win against a coach and a team that don't care to win. Preseason 67% since 2015. And my plays rated 4% and higher have gone 36 and 11, 77%.
Wow.
You're getting a preseason top play today for $2 at WagerTalk.
Guys, 60 wins, 30 losses in NFL preseason since 2017. You can get his play for literally only $2. Total no-brainer. Ralph, Seattle is hosting the Rams week 1 in NFL. The line is -5, 5.5 for Seattle. Interesting matchup. Probably the best wide receiving core in football against what I think might end up being the worst secondary in football. With that said, I think the Rams are better than what most people seem to think they are. If I can get 5 points against Seattle here, that's where I lean, but I won't likely be on this game. I'm curious how you're betting it.
I have not played it, but I'm certainly leaning with you, Prez, on the Rams. There's 5s. There's also 5.5s out there. So as we always say, so important to chop and check out the WagerTalk live odds screen, wt.buzz/odds for all the updates. Listen, I don't think McVay and Stafford would have come back if there wasn't some confidence. Yes, they're a young team. Yes, their defense lost Ramsey and Wright and Floyd and Gaines, and there's down arrows. And yes, Seattle drafted Smith-Jigma, and, there's some positives there. But, this is still a division game. And I think people look at week 1 and week 1 situations and say, well, Seattle's a positive and the Rams are a negative, and Seattle beat them twice last year, so I don't mind laying this. Well, yes, Seattle beat them twice last year. They played them in December and in January, but the Rams actually covered both of those games. Now, let me go back and show you an overview of week 1 and how the public overreacts. Since 2014, if you blindly bet every week 1 underdog, you have gone 56% against the spread. If you blindly bet every week 1 division dog, you have gone 72.1% against the spread. NFC West dogs, there's a rivalry in the NFC West that is unique. NFC away dogs since 2016, 65.4%. And NFC West away dogs, this is the entire season, excluding dogs of 9.5 or more. So when you're a huge dog, you don't do well. But away dogs in the NFC West of 9 or less have hit 73.2% since 2016. Listen, we still have Cooper Kupp, we have Aaron Donald, we have Matthew Stafford. We saw what Cam Akers can do when he's healthy at the end of the year. He's now refreshed. I am happy to say the Rams are a fade team for me because of their lack of depth into the season. But starting the season, grabbing these points in a division game in week 1, I am happy to back Stafford and McVay.
Teddy?
So let me ask you this, Ralph, because it was not 5 minutes ago that you came on with a chart saying we do not want to be betting on the bad teams. And the bad teams are a long-term negative expectation. And when you look at the NFL this year, who are the bad teams supposed to be? The Colts, the Commanders, the Cardinals, the Bucs, the Raiders, the Rams, and the Texans are the teams that are all lined 6.5 wins or less. They're all supposed to be below 40%. So the Rams clearly fall into the bet against category all year. Does the fact that they're division dogs here, is that enough? That division dog trend to overcome the beautiful chart you showed us earlier in the show that says don't bet on teams like the LA Rams?
Teddy, it's funny. I was going to start my analysis with that point, but I said no. I don't want to start it with a negative. 2 factors. As I said, dogs week 1 are 56%. There's an overreaction. Yes, I don't think the Rams are going to be a good team, and you also heard me say, yes, I believe the Rams are going to be a complete fade because their lack of depth. But yes, being a division dog, yes, being a dog early in the year, yes, still having better superstars than Seattle does. you have better superstars and a coach that, the coaches are even. To me, that supersedes this. I won't be on the Rams often this year, but in this spot, I do look at them. And like I said, with all my charts, a 40% record still means it's 60% one way, 40% the other way. So, yes, it may make you think about being a play, but if everything else is strong enough to override that system, it can be a play. And in this situation, I do back the Rams.
Ralph freaking Michaels, outstanding work, Ralph. We love having you on. I have to cough. Well, at least I announced it and it didn't interrupt anybody. Teddy, I'm getting a whole lot of people are like, well, you're in a hoodie today. Yeah, it's a little bit chilly in the house. Welcome everybody to the show. EQ, Randy O, Stephen Van Dyke, Mike Truman, Chuck, Chris, Fantone, G-Mode, all of you guys. We really, really, really love having you on. Ralph Michaels, we're going straight to the betting strategy segment. I need you on for here, so stay with us. Daniel, put that question on the computer. From Rake Ship 6498 or Rake's Shop. Can we get a crash course on what the gold sheet is and what handicappers are behind it? Ralph Michaels, you are deeply involved in the gold sheet, the best publication out there. Tell us, answer this question, Teddy, and I will just shut up.
Well, Gold Sheet, obviously, the most iconic betting publication since the 1950s, acquired by WagerTalk a few years back. So what's happened? Well, many of the old writers from the Gold Sheet stayed through the transition. We did a little refining, and we have multiple handicappers that handicap multiple conferences. So we have conference-specific handicappers writing up the plays. So there are 5 to 6 cappers in college football, several NFL experts. We continue to add to make that group of people even better. Eric Pauley is now a full-time Gold Sheet employee. You know what the work he's done at Sports Memo. You know what his NFL guide was like last year. You know his attention to detail. So Gold Sheet is a collaboration of handicappers that do the write-ups and analysis. The Gold Sheet hierarchy that make the final selections on plays have been the same since WagerTalk acquired them. Number 1 in football, NFL and college football combined the last 2 years. And more importantly, for those that are interested in the Gold Sheet newsletter, just $189 gets you a weekly issue through the Super Bowl. Go to Gold Sheet's page at WagerTalk.com. Check the special on the top right page. You can use WagerBucks. You can use your free WagerBucks to purchase the Gold Sheet. And there's a sample there, over 30 pages of information each and every week on the Gold Sheet for football. Check out their homepage at WagerTalk.com.
Yeah, and Teddy, I mean, you and I live on this Gold Sheet. I cannot tell people how important it is to buy this package. $189. It's so cheap for the entire year. It's really exceptional. I mean, the company's been around since the 1950s. Not even Teddy has been around that long, although pretty damn close, dude. Teddy, yeah, pretty close. Really?
Yeah,
Not that close to the 1950s? Yeah. No. 8 years off, bro. 8 years off. That's pretty close to me. It is when you get this old. 8 years goes like this, man. I mean, think about it. You got like a 14-year-old already. Ralph, thank you so much, brother. We got to keep the show moving. Guys, we put up 2 Mark Zinno. That was like a tease, Teddy. We've put up 2 promotions, brand new today. They're both incredible. They're as we go into the football season. One is buy 2 weeks, get your 3rd week free. So if you buy 2 weeks from any handicapper at WagerTalk, you get your 3rd week free. It's $189. Regular price is $397. The other promotion is the same one. Buy 2 months and get 1 month free. So buy 2 months of any handicapper you want, get the 3rd month free. That's 90 days for only $6.64 a day. Take advantage of that. It's on our deals page over at WagerTalk. Mark Zinno, Well, what did you do today? Was it bicep left toe today?
Well, actually, today is an off day for me because I still play baseball at my elderly age. So I try not to lift on days where I have to actually go play a game. I catch, so I squat for 9 innings behind the plate, and I like my body to be a little bit fresher walking into that. So today's an off day for me, just a little cardio this morning.
You do understand baseball is not an actual sport, right? Like you can just like stand there and smoke cigarettes in right field until the game ends.
Not for
Well,
a
not when you're
catcher, it
catching.
isn't.
Oh, you're a cat. Hey, I got my playoff hockey tonight, Mark, and I'm still gonna lift, you wimp. Anyway.
You're me. That's why you're a Prez and I'm not.
Okay, well said, Mark Zinno. It's very hard to be me. Okay, brother, we got 2 games we're going to talk about. I'm so glad you're on again. You were on last week. Braves team total is going over or under the 5.5 number?
Over. I mean, there's 2 facets to this thing here. One, the Braves, look, they lost last night. They now lost 3 in a row. So they need a win. And the easiest way the Braves get wins is by scoring a ton of runs, right? But Mitch Keller has been a straight fade in the second half of the Major League Baseball season. His ERA post All-Star break is 10. His whip is 2.45. It's probably not something that's going to get better against the best lineup in baseball. The Braves own the second best OPS and WRC plus since the All-Star break. They had a little bit of a sluggish start last night. They had the rain delay, never really could get going, but even though they did put up 5 runs. So there's that aspect to it. And Keller hasn't had success against the Braves either. This lineup batting a collective 351 against him with an OPS of 979. Now, this is Keller's first matchup against Atlanta this season. Last year, his one start against him, he lasted just 3 2/3, allowed 7 hits and 7 runs. Go back 2 years, his lone start against Atlanta lasted 5 innings, gave up 5 runs, including 2 home runs. I think Atlanta here easily should get over their team total of 5.5. Plus, you add in a bad Pirates bullpen. They'll have 9 at-bats to do so because they're the road team. I like this spot here for Atlanta to come out and bust out the whooping sticks, as they say.
So let's talk about the next game, the Rays and the Cardinals. You're looking at a first 5 bet in this one. What do you want to do with Tampa and St. Louis?
Well, I want to go under here. And look, this is one of these games where I kind of recognize the pitfalls and things that could happen. I'm just sort of relying on the numbers to tell me this story here. Zach Eflin starts for Tampa Bay. He's been excellent at home this year. He's got a 2.6 ERA, a 0.86 whip. The Rays have won 12 of his home starts this year. But Eflin's not going to have it easy, guys, because the Cardinals offense continues. They still hit the ball well. Since the All-Star break, they're 4th in batting average, 8th in OPS and WRC+. But this is a pitcher in Zach Eflin who at home this year has faced the Orioles, the Braves, Phillies, and the Blue Jays. Those are all really competent lineups and held them to 2 runs or less in each of those 4 starts. So I have a lot of faith in Eflin here to slow down this Cardinals lineup. Now, Miles Mikolas gets the ball for St. Louis. Mikolas has been a real mixed bag. His road ERA is 3.84, which isn't terrible, but his whip is 1.3. Opposing hitters are batting 303 against him the first time through the order, guys. That could present a little bit of a problem. However, the Rays offense is struggling, especially at home. Tampa has the lowest batting average in the majors since July 1st, guys. They're batting 201 and the lowest OPS over that span at 599. You know how hard it is to have an OPS below 600 on base plus slugging, to have it below 600? It's really tough. They also have the 4th highest strikeout rate over that span. So there's enough here for me to trust Eflin holding the Cardinals in check and Mikolas limiting an already limited offense here for me to take the under first 5.5 between Tampa Bay and St. Louis.
Mark Zinno, everybody. Mark, Kyle Anthony just called while you were talking. He wants his stud muffin title back. So I'll just let you guys sort that out.
If you'd like to wrestle me for it or fight me for it, I'm game.
Oh, yes! That's what
Now
we want to
good...
see. Kyle Anthony, you have been called out. Mark Zinno,
what kind of number are you making on that fight, Lawrence? Who's the chalk?
Oh my God, dude, I've never met Zinno like face to face, but just looking at that guy's neck, minus 800.
Huh?
Yeah.
I'm not betting against Kyle.
I think he kicks Kyle's ass, and I think he does that and then he kicks your and my ass together in a tag team battle after he kicks Kyle
you guys
Anthony's ass. Anyway.
Probably.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So Kyle called, so I'll let you guys deal. Brother, what do you got to promote for the clients?
Just head over to my page over at Sportsman. Big day, guys. Putting 3 plays up and also posted a free play up on my page. So there's a lot of content there, a lot of stuff that I like today. So get on it while it's hot. And $9 is the price for all of my plays today over at sportsmemo.com.
Wonderful stuff, Mark Zinno, everyone. Awesome. Teddy covers. It's time for your big game breakdown. Lawrence, shut up.
Big game breakdown time here on WagerTalk Today. Let's talk the first game of the college football season. College football kickoff, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, 2:30 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday, August 26th, Navy and Notre Dame. This is a fascinating contest. And from a total standpoint, I'm going to talk about it right here. 20 the point spread, 50.5 the total. From a total standpoint, we have seen two-way action on this game. We've seen some over money. We've seen some under money. You don't always see that this early, where you're seeing two different groups having different opinions on the total for this game. I've got an opinion on this total for this game, and I like the over. Notre Dame cannot replicate Navy's offense in practice, and that defense not up to game speed either, week 1 of the season. Navy's defense cannot replicate Notre Dame's offense in practice. The skill position talent is just too fast. They're not acclimated either. Irish, huge QB quarterback upgrade. Sam Hartman, as a graduate transfer, he's been balling at Wake. I expect big things out of him at Notre Dame this year. Last year, the Irish had 35 before halftime. Navy had 32 in that ballgame and moved the football. The Irish, the previous 3 meetings, 34, 52, 44, up and down the field, cashing 3 overs the last 4 games. In fact, 7-3 to the over the last 10 meetings between these two teams. It's just an over series. Last time in Ireland, 50-10, cashed over bets. No surprise here if this one gets up and over the total. Look for Navy and Notre Dame to be a relatively high-scoring affair to open up the college football season. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Teddy, how many hours are you putting into handicapping right now? I know you're not doing baseball anymore.
All of it.
So
the
what
answer is
about
all of them.
8 hours a day, give or take?
I'll take the over. That's all. I mean, I finished this show. I had a bunch of errands I had to do Sunday and yesterday. But really, moving forward, I do this show and I spend the rest of the day handicapping football. That's my job. And
okay,
that's what I'm gonna do.
So let's delve into that because I love to hear the mindset. Dave Sharapan, we're still waiting on him, and that's okay. I want to hear the mindset of how you do it. Are you looking at the teams first individually and then making a power rating type structure, taking notes, or are you delving straight into the matchups on that particular day, or do you do one then the other? What is it? What is your process?
So there's a different process for college football compared to the NFL. The NFL, I get a lot of my work done early after the draft and after those free agency period. I do a lot of my NFL work, and that's why we put the NFL season win report out early. As you get into August with the NFL, the goal is every day I'm going through the beat writers, and I've got a whole bunch of beat writers for a whole bunch of teams, and looking for tidbits about this week's game. So right now, my NFL work is game related. On the college side of the equation, and again, college, I've been doing 1, 2, 3 teams a day all summer long, 4 teams some days. And I'll spend anywhere, depending on how much information there is, I can spend anywhere from a half hour to an hour to even sometimes 90 minutes per team as a base knowledge of getting to know these 133 teams for this year. And in college right now, I'm doing that's a lot of meat work in college. We've done the basics. Now we're looking at the training camp updates on a day out basis. And that, again, there's a lot of Google News in that. There's a lot of beat writers in that. So the work, like the magazines and stuff, they're all obsolete already. Okay? Literally, already. The work that I'm doing now is all local papers, local beat writers, trying to find the nuances and the guts of what these training camps for both college and pro are really like.
Yeah, I remember a long time prior to the internet, dude, the top bettors in Vegas, they had deals with like the airline, the stewardesses, whatever.
Well, the one, yeah,
where they get
there's a famous story
papers.
about a bettor who used to go to the airport and collect all the papers from the
Yep.
people coming off the planes, and you have all the info. I don't know how
Yeah.
true that story actually is, though. It didn't pass the smell test for me.
Dave Sharapan joining
heard-
us. Dave, welcome,
Yes.
bro. Thanks for joining us. I know you were busy.
Yes, I apologize. I had to go down to Circa. There's a bunch of people in town. I don't know if you've heard for this bet bash thing. All the
Of course.
rhombuses and parallelograms are here, Theodore. By the way, it's great to see you. I was following along with your trip, and your hair looks amazing. Looks like you haven't got a
That's
haircut
what I
since you've been
say.
back.
Don't
Crap.
cut it.
Let it go. It looks
Let it
unbelievable.
go.
I don't want any
Yes.
drama on a Tuesday, but my God.
It'll be
I
gone
have-
tomorrow.
No.
Appreciate that, but this
Theodore,
this-
leave it, go.
Yeah,
Gosh.
I'm with
this
you.
shall
there.
not pass.
Oh,
I'm with you. But are you seeing the Eugene Levy eyebrow situation, Dave?
carpets don't match the curtains.
Yeah, it's like Bowser and Eugene Levy had a baby, and out popped Teddy covers.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
Is it cold where you're at, Prez? You look like you're freezing. Are you cold? Are you in the
Dude,
Arctic somewhere
dude.
playing poker or what?
I freeze the house when I sleep because I like to sleep in cold, and then I forgot to adjust, and I put this on and it just never came off. But I personally, this is my favorite sweatshirt ever, like flat
If
out.
the color works
Never.
with you and that little hoodie thing, it's great. You
Well,
look fantastic. Yeah.
Dude, I make Mark Zinno look like shit.
Whoa. I don't know about
Yeah.
that. Zinno.
Yeah.
Zinno's.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Zinno's doing
Kyle
some
Anthony.
major
I made
work.
Kyle Anthony look ugly. Let's get into some actionable info. Dave, before we get anywhere, Teddy was talking about, bugger off, Teddy. Teddy was talking about his process
Bugger
for
off.
handicapping NFL
Yes.
and college football. So I'm going to throw a question to both.
I did not talk about my process for handicapping. I talked about my process for preparation for the NFL season. Handicapping is a whole different story.
Oh, my
Correct.
God. He's
You
splitting
Got to use
hairs.
the right
It's not
terms.
As you
Boy.
handicap a game, it's a whole different process, and as you're preparing for a season, Lawrence, and I'm right. There's no
Guys, I'd like to apologize for Teddy covers. It seems that we only had one day of good Teddy, and now he's back to being annoying Teddy.
I miss this.
Dave.
I don't know about you,
Dave.
but I and the
Do we have
listeners, I
any-
miss this.
Dave, any NFL sleepers coming into the season that we should look at?
Considering that no one's played a game other than the Hall of Fame game, I don't really think so because there's a lot of speculation. We did a breakdown on Bostonian versus the book with the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons are a buzz team right now. There's a lot of people talking about the Falcons. Zinno was one of them. A couple other people that I've talked to really like the Falcons. There's a lot of fantasy guys that are doing drafts talking about, Bijan Robinson, rookie year, all this running game. They're going to change the way the game's played. That's one of them. And I don't know what to make of the NFC North. The NFC, I almost called it the Central. That's how old I am. The NFC North. The Vikings, a little bit of a buzz with them. The Bears, a little bit of buzz with them. And the esteemed producer of this show, Dan Alexander, has told me, don't listen to any of that. Forget about all of that. It's the Green Bay Packers. That's the team. Jordan Love looks great so far. That's another team that I think you got to be aware of. In the AFC, it's the big dogs. We're still waiting to see which team in the AFC is going to come out as like the surprise team, the sleeper team, because it's the heavyweights, and Burrow's injury has messed it all up in that regard.
Teddy?
What about the bottom feeders in the NFL? I mean, I ran through the list with Ralph earlier about the teams lined at 6.5 wins or less. Colts,
Yep.
Commanders, Cardinals, Bucks, Raiders, Rams, Texans. Any of those teams attracting attention on the way up as maybe being better than expected? Any of those teams attracting attention on the way down as for sure this is going to be a disastrous season? It feels like that for Arizona a little bit and Houston
Yeah.
both, doesn't it?
Arizona and Houston are your obvious choices. There's people on both sides of the line of Tampa Bay. When you look at Tampa Bay, I think they're going to have the worst season in that division. There's people that are telling me that they're going to compete to win the division. So you get a real dichotomy.
Well, that is
of
a
opinion.
mess of a division. I mean, it's not, it's not radical to think that Tampa Bay could, win that division even with an, 8-9 record. I mean, the division's a mess. Derek Carr gets injured. The Saints are done. Carolina, who knows? One thing we know about Tampa Bay, look, their defense is good. They have weapons. And it's ultimately, if Baker plays great, who knows? But I think they're a terrible football team. Oh, Lawrence, why are you talking?
What happened?
I don't think their defense is great. I'm not convinced Baker Mayfield wins the starting job. So me and you have different opinions on teams that I've done work on.
Prez. I'm with Theodore on this one. Everything that I'm looking at, I think Tampa may have. There's a fun bet down at Circle.
I'm with both you guys too. I already said I think they're going to be really bad, but there is an argument on their path to winning the division. But yeah, I think they're going to be totally shit. Tampa Bay, Baker,
that's actionable
Mayfield.
info.
Yeah.
That's actionable info right there. I like that. Boy, it must be really cold up there where you're at. I mean, you must sleep at 68 degrees. I mean, you're fired up.
That's exactly what I do. 68. Nice, Dave.
Well, that's what my wife sleeps with too. Like she keeps it that cold. I sleep in a hoodie and a beanie. It's freezing in this house. Insane.
Okay. So, Teddy, get more info out of him. We don't need to close him yet. We'll close him in a minute. He was late.
Okay. I'd love to get more info.
One more question.
Let's talk college football. We've talked some NFL. We've talked some MLB. College football. Give me some buzz teams you're hearing around town. Who do people like? Who do people not like?
Well, the state of college football is in such disarray that all of the talk of realignment, while you were gone, Theodore, the Pac-12 blew up. There's no more Pac-12. The Big Ten is now a coast-to-coast conference. And all of these things are being talked about in lieu of who's actually going to win their conferences this year. And I talked about it on another show yesterday, how this will be the last year of betting college football the way we know it to be. It's going to look completely different next year. And schedules are going to change. We're going to have really good betting opportunities with teams going from west to east with early start times, teams having to stay up late. It's going to look a lot like the NFL. But rivalries like Bedlam, which Oklahoma State is a fun rivalry, is done. They're not going to play again after this year because they're going to be in different conferences. So I think cautious expectations, at least right now. But I don't know. I don't know if I've just talked to too many people, with Notre Dame. But Notre Dame, they get public love every year, and those alumni are very, very adamant that this team is going to be in the mix, win 10 games. When you go through their schedule, they got 3 really big ones. If they win 2 of them, they're going to go over their season win total.
Dave Sharapan, everyone. Dave, do you have a fundamental problem with the isosceles triangle? I mean, every time you get on here, you yap about the parallelograms but you never discuss the isosceles. Is that did you have a bad experience with an isosceles triangle at some point?
I did not, but the isosceles triangle only has 3 sides. And
as opposed to other triangles?
All triangles have 3 sides, but the isosceles is the perfect triangle. And no one is perfect. So I don't know. You have to be very cautious in the use of the geometry terms because it's bad enough. The sharp square divide is literally fighting words. So rhombus and parallelogram is kind of neutral. There's a lot of sides to them. That's what we stick with.
I'm Lawrence, the isosceles triangle Presman, and this has been an outstanding show. Dave Sharapan, where can people hear you, bro?
every day, Monday through Friday, we do Bostonian versus the book. We usually start at 10:15 Pacific, 1:15 Eastern. Today, we're starting a little bit later. That's on a YouTube channel at symbol Boston versus the book. Today, we'll be on MLB Network on the Bettor's Eye. We do that once a week or twice a week, depending on their schedule. And then every day on Sports Grid TV and Sirius XM Radio, 159 from 4 o'clock Pacific to 7 o'clock Pacific PM, in-game live. And Cash Considerations has started back up. We got Dan Alexander, another guy named Tony Yanizzi from New York City. That's it. At Sports Beat Cake and Sig. It's right there on the thing. Ranieri did it
There
right
you
this
go.
week. Thank you, John. Yeah.
Dave Sharapan, everybody. What an awesome show. Thanks, everybody, for logging in and listening to it live. And you guys who don't listen to it live, thank you for listening. Please, if you want a betting strategy question answered, just ask the question in our comment section of our YouTube video. Shout out to Ralph Michaels, Mark Zinno, and Dave Sharapan. Teddy, take us home.
That's going to wrap it for the Tuesday edition of WagerTalk Today. We'll do it again, same time, same channel, 9 a.m. on the left coast, 9 a.m. on the left coast, noon for you back east tomorrow. Between now and then, enjoy the games and best of luck